Well, folks, yep, I ain't got nothing. DeVal himself said on Twitter last night something to the effect of, you know what, I had a little talk with Zach, and yeah, he was a bit emotional and doing a bit too much, so don't worry about defending Zach. Just stay tuned in to, see how things play out. But you all know me. I've been sitting up here defending Zach's ass for quite a while, and yet here we go. I'm in a situation where I have nothing. Like Whitney Houston, I have nothing, nothing, nothing in order to give my boy some, credit here, because the whole argument was, hey, you know what? He's upset because he could have possibly lost the unborn child that Karen is carrying because he doesn't really know if that's his child or not. But instead, he was putting on one hell of a performance last night. This particular video, because what was my main argument? Well, Fatima better not forget how she reacted when Ian came up to her and said he has cancer, this, that, and the third. And this video is going to be comparing the way Fatima reacted to Ian versus the way that Zach reacted to the news of Karen's death, as well as her return. Truth be told, I honestly shouldn't even do this video until next week, because the promo for next week shows that he's going to be on the phone with Karen, and it's going to be very, very, very awkward when Fatima comes in during a phone conversation. Hey, I just wanted to hear your voice again. I need to hear your voice. Huh, I thought you hated me. Karen, I don't hate you. I love you. Yikes. So, here we are, doing a play-by-play. So, yeah, completely dismissed the idea of Zatima happening in a separate universe, because last night further confirmed that's bullcrap, considering that Angela, of all people, playing devil's advocate, basically in her own way kind of vouched for Zach. It's like, hey, Fatima, before you get in your feelings, overreact, try to, I don't know, just go all the way off on Zach about Karen, don't forget the way you reacted about Ian. So, let me put it this way. It could be summed up in like 30 seconds or less, but when you compare Fatima's reaction to Ian versus the way Zach acted about Karen, Fatima's reaction and her meeting with Ian at the coffee shop, that felt like a way to close that chapter, finish writing that chapter of her life, because of the fact that she wasn't able to fully give herself to Zach because she was still hurt by Ian. But being in the coffee shop, confronting him about their past, was a way for her to get closure and move on and be a better partner, lover, and friend to Zach. When you look at Zach's reaction to Karen's demise, but particularly the return of Karen, it was giving "we're not over yet" vibes. Yes, Zach has every right to be emotional because these two have 3 years of history. Not the best history, but 3 years. And the way he just ran up and hugged her, I think he kind of like pushed past Sabrina and Preston and Danny to get to Karen and scoop her up for a hug. He hugged her like a good 2 or 3 times. Caressed her hair, is like, hey, don't worry about the salon. I will help you rebuild it. And I'm like, bro, your fiance is right there. Right there. And you're putting on... Zach was showing more emotion than anybody. Look, aside from the not stellar acting from the other people in attendance, Zach was giving the most energy in terms of, oh my God, Karen, oh my God, yes, you're back. No, he was at like 15. Everybody else was like at a 4. And I mean, when you look at the women, it's like Sabrina and Danny and Andy. These people have known Karen for way longer than Zach, yet Zach was the one showing the most emotion. Yes, I know he was the only one in a romantic relationship with her and this, that, and the third, but it was just way too much. Now, granted, part of me feels like, okay, yeah, Zach just came from a traumatic experience, finding out about his son, the way he's being raised, mirroring that of how he was raised with his mom and brother, and dealing with the fact that, okay, I got to get my son out of there because this is awful. He's 3. He can't talk. He can't even, use the potty correctly. He's in diapers. This is wild. Now, then he finds out about Karen, and then he just flies off. He completely leaves Fatima. When you look at Fatima, now, to be fair, she randomly runs into Ian, the guy that broke her heart several months ago. Maybe I'm having a brain fart here, but I can't recall how long the gap in time was between Ian leaving Fatima to be with his wife, well, ex-wife now, versus when she eventually met Zach. But I doubt it was 3 years. So yes, Karen and Zach's relationship was longer. But she randomly runs into Ian at the park. And then Zach rolls up too. Ian is trying to plead his case. Look, I'm sorry I treated you this way. Can we go out to dinner sometime? Zach rolls up and is like, hell to the no. And they both dismiss Ian. Later that day, at her job, at the law firm, Ian pops up. And you have him saying, look, I had to see you because I have cancer and I need to make things right. Can we have coffee sometime or something? And then it turns out that they'll just meet at a coffee shop after she gets off of work. She talks with Angela about it because of the fact that the way that Ian just popped up, all of a sudden, all of these feelings just came back to her. Like she could feel him, just, his touch and all like that, emotionally and physically. It just came back to her. And she was in tears because now it's like, she's being confronted with the man who emotionally scarred her and the fact that he is dying. So her emotional response makes sense. Angela, playing devil's advocate again, to be honest, and quite well too. She's like, well, maybe you should go to this dinner or whatever to make sure what's being felt by you right now is real or not, because you ought to put that chapter of your life behind you or decide what to do with Ian, But the most important thing that Angela said was, but you should tell Zach. Like, you shouldn't just go without telling him anything. You should go tell Zach. Now, it's just one of those situations where I do feel like Fatima was wrong because she didn't tell Zach. And not only that, if Tony didn't take that photo from the coffee shop window, I don't know if or when Fatima would have told Zach about the Ian situation, because Fatima and Zach were standing right next to each other when they both were like, hell no, you ain't going to dinner or, meeting with my Fatima. That's not happening. So Fatima went completely behind Zach's back to meet with this, guy. And yes, it was an important meeting for her to give her closure, but it was kind of a violation of Zach's trust because over the phone, he could tell Fatima was upset, but she wouldn't tell him why. But it's like, I'll tell you when I get home. Like Fatima says, she has to process things, which, to be fair, I will say, yeah, it's understandable given the circumstances of everything going on with Ian, but you didn't have to lie to your man like that. So from there, they go to the coffee shop. And like I said, this entire meeting was about closure. Fatima's emotion were from a place of, you broke my heart, you played me, you lied to me, you convinced me to get an abortion, and before I had even healed, you left me to go marry someone else. But I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about everything that went down, the way I felt, and as a result, I'm going to heal from this. I'm going to learn, and most importantly, I'm going to be a better person for my current man than I was when I was with you. And that was amazing. So yeah, they shared a hug, but like I said, it was emotional because it made sense. Now, Ian was doing too much, when he was like, my mother, can you take care of her when I'm gone? And then later on, when the mom calls and invites her to dinner and all this and that, it's just one of those things where, we never got proper follow-up. Maybe we will during the back half of season 2 of Zatima, but something tells me I doubt that's going to happen at all. So the fact that we never get proper the fact that we haven't yet gotten proper follow-up on the Ian storyline has me wondering if it's even fair to compare that to the Zach and Karen stuff. Now, I know that eventually Ian did show up again when Karen invited him down to the whole restaurant table to basically use him as a living example of, when I shut myself out, when I close myself off from somebody, they won't get back in no matter what. But overall, it's kind of sad that we didn't get proper closure there. You know, like if Ian died off screen or something. It's kind of weird. So, with that being said, Fatima's interactions with Ian, as well as her emotional outburst, it made complete sense. She did not act like a damn fool compared to Zach. Now, granted, like I said, we don't know Ian's fate as of yet. Who knows? Maybe in Zatima season 3 or Sistas season 8, Fatima would get a phone call and then be in tears because Ian's dead and maybe the mom invited her to the funeral. I don't know. I honestly do not know. So I can only judge based off what we've seen on screen. But that being said, Fatima's response and everything made sense. Now, her not telling Zach about it and him having to, drag it out of her, yeah, that was controversial, but it was nothing compared to the way Zach was reacting to Karen. Now, like I said, I wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Like, it wasn't just about Karen, but the fact that she could be carrying his child. That was not communicated at all in this episode. And if nothing else, the way he scooped up Karen and, was caressing her and like, oh, don't worry, I'll help you get the salon up and running. And then next week, Karen, I love you. It just left everything out there for the fact. It just left everything out there like, you know what? He still has real feelings for this chick and they might end up together again. So it just further adds fuel to Fatima's fears that just like Ian, Zach is going to leave her and go back to his ex. Keep in mind, that's exactly what he did when he left her at the law firm to go running to the salon to see about his ex. Like I said, it made sense in the context of, you know what, yeah, she might be dead, but you literally acted like Fatima. I think what made it worse was the fact that Fatima was by his side through the entire experience at Heather's apartment with his son. But the minute he found out about Karen, he literally up and left Fatima, acted like she didn't even exist. From running to the salon to just acting a damn fool. And then especially the way he was acting intimately with Karen while Fatima was standing right there. Zachary Taylor is trash. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. Look, now, is it possible that maybe within the next few episodes, there might be some explanations here or some redemption for his character? But if I were in Fatima's position, let's say I had a girlfriend and she was acting the way he was about, an ex, and I'm just standing right there, just supposed to take it, I would have extreme doubts too. I wouldn't blame Fatima. See, this is why I wish season 5 Fatima, and even in Zatima season 2, I wish Fatima didn't constantly threaten to leave or constantly question Zach's emotions. If Fatima had chilled out like last season, then her actually packing up her stuff and moving in this season would hold a lot more weight, because it's like, yep, I can see why you leaving. Yep, girl, I got you. I completely understand why. Zach is still, feeling something for Karen, and like Karen said, hey, grief and situations like this bring out a person's true feelings. And let me put it this way, those feelings clearly weren't for Fatima. Now, with that being said, when it comes to who was doing the most, when it comes to dealing with their exes and the potential of death, Ian being being on his deathbed, or Ian essentially being a dead man walking, and Karen, coming back from the dead, it seems clear to me that Zach was doing the most. It is no contest when I analyze both situations. And then Zach is going to act all stupid when it's like, Pam, what are you talking about? It's like, why are you keeping an eye on Fatima? Well, you certainly wasn't. Like, you literally didn't see the way she was looking at you and, you know, the way you were carrying on in front of her. It's a damn shame. And then you got Fatima feeling bad about not being able to, and I respect her the way she walked away from the situation because, you know, she had to process things. This is one of the first times I sided with Fatima in terms of, yeah, I see why you process something as opposed to going off, because you have every right to go off. But she's like, I didn't want to come across as that, you know, bitter girl that's like, oh, wow, you crying over your dead ex-girlfriend. But yeah, if nothing else, Fatima has 100% right to feel abandoned, because that's exactly what Zach did. So, Zach, my man, you on your own. Whatever happens, happens. If Fatima takes off that ring for good, I don't blame her. And if Zach is able to get Fatima back and, you know, showcase his devotion to her, I gotta applaud him, because he must be doing, he proposed to get out of the doghouse once. He might have like a surprise. He might pull a Gary and get a surprise wedding ceremony together or something. But even then, I hope Fatima doesn't marry his ass, because this was just too much. Zach, you did too much. I can't believe that Zach did something so foul that it makes me give Fatima a pass for how she acted with Ian in season 1. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Lord have mercy. Just DeVal, hell of an actor, but Zach was doing too much. And I got to give props to Fatima, because her facial expressions just made that scene. All right. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.